Hello and welcome to Art Club. We've got all kinds of amazing projects to work on this week and I'm so excited to get started. So here we go. We're going to need quite a few supplies today. So let's get ready just by kind of getting those out. We're going to need our plastic cup, white pom-poms, we're going to need black paper and white paper and then some colorful paper too. And you can kind of choose which colors. I'm choosing green, and I'm going to have some yellow for the beak and the feet. So yeah, just getting out some color paper. You guys will use a pencil. I'm going to use a white color pencil for mine just so it's easier to see on the screen, but you can use just a regular old pencil. Some scissors and some glue, and that should do us. So here we go. We're going to get started with our black piece of paper, and we're going to be making a penguin body on top of a little tiny box. And if you're wondering why is it on top of a little tiny box, this will make sense in a few more steps. But for now, just know that our penguin body, which is going to be sort of an oval shape. Now, one thing I'm going to do first, just to make sure I'm not making my penguin too big, is I am going to cut a little square or rectangle out of my black paper. I'm just going to show you what I'm checking for here. I'm going to check to make sure that that little piece of paper fits well inside of my cup. Can you kind of see how it's like a nice fit? It's not too small, it's not too big. If it sticks out a little bit this way, that's okay, because it'll end up getting folded over eventually, but we're just kind of making sure that our piece of black paper fits in here, because if we have a really big piece of paper and draw a really big penguin, you can imagine you're going to be frustrated when it does not fit inside of its little snow globe, right? So we'll start off with that, making sure that it fits. All right, I'm going to put this white piece of paper down, just so it's easier for you to see what I'm doing on the black paper. Okay, here we go. So my penguin body is basically just an oval shape, right? Like a circle that's been elongated. So I'm going to draw an oval shape. Once again, you guys can be using just regular old pencil. I'm using the white so it's easier to see. And then we want it sitting on top of a tiny box. So it's going to look something like that. Okay. And of course, feel free always, you guys, to pause the video or rewind as needed. But your next step, once you've got something like this drawn out on your black paper, go ahead and cut that on out. This is going to be our penguin body, and the box is going to be how our penguin ends up standing up in our snow globe. More on that to come later. Okay, so I'm just cutting this on out. Once again, if you need a pause or rewind, go ahead and do so. But we're looking for something that looks like that. And I know what you're probably thinking, that Mrs. Simpson, that does not look like a penguin. Hold on, we got more steps to do here. So my next step is going to be to take my white piece of paper, and I want to cut a little oval out. Okay, so that's going to be the belly of my penguin. So taking my white piece of paper here, and just cutting a little oval that'll fit in the middle of that black oval. Like that. Okay, I'm going to test it and just kind of make sure that it does in fact fit. And if I think like, oh, it's still a little too wide or it's too long, you can always go ahead and just give it a bit of a trim, right? You can always cut it down a little bit further if needed. But once you've got one that looks like it's the right size, go ahead and grab your glue. I'm using a liquid glue right now, but a glue stick works really well for this. And I'm going to glue that on down. Give it a little pat, make sure the glue is adhering all the way around. And I'm just going to set that on down. Okay? So next I need, this still isn't quite looking like a penguin, isn't it? Because it's missing some wings. So let's make the wings next here. Okay. So I'm going to take that black piece of paper again. And this time I'm going to cut out kind of two football shapes or eyeball shapes, however you want to look at it. And those are going to become my wings. So maybe like that and like this. Whoop. Let's get it so you guys can see that better on the camera. There we go. So something kind of like that. That looks like it would be size appropriate for our penguin. And of course, once we've got them drawn, go ahead and cut them on out. So once again, just kind of two football or eyeball shapes, however you want to think of it. There's one, and here is my other. Boop. There we go. All right, I'm going to set this on the yellow paper now. Make it easier to see. So here's my penguin so far, but we got to add those wings. So maybe the wings are just going to get glued down, kind of coming down on its side. Whoops! My penguin wanted to go for a little slide there. Come back up here. So maybe they're just kind of down like that when you glue them. Maybe your penguin's really happy. Woohoo! Right? Maybe the wings are up in the air. Like that. Maybe your penguin's doing a goofy little dance. Maybe one wing up, one wing down. Up to you, but whenever you decide how you want your penguin's wings to go ahead and get just a tiny little bit of glue wherever they're attaching and glue that on down. I'm going to have this one be really excited. I'm going to do arms up in the air. Yeah! And glue that one down as well. Alright, give those a little pat. Make sure that's good too. Okay, now I'm going to let this dry. Actually, next I want a beak on my penguin. I'm going to be using my yellow paper, but if you've got orange or whatever you want, go ahead and use that. And I'm just going to cut a tiny little triangle here for my penguin's beak. Look how tiny that is. Itty bitty. So cute. Okay. So of course I'm going to want to glue that down as well. And once we've got our beak on, we can really start to have some fun now with how we want to accessorize and decorate our penguin. You could put on maybe some googly eyes, or what I actually did, I just took my white color pencil, but a white crayon or oil pastel will work too, and just drew some eyes on like that. Okay, so you can see he's starting to look so cute, right? But yeah, all kinds of other things you could do from here. You can see on my other one, I added a little hat, which was just kind of like an upside down U shape, and then I added a pom-pom to it. You could do like a scarf. You could do maybe some mittens on the wings. Wouldn't that be cute? So feel free, if you want to pause the video at this point and start accessorizing your penguin, go ahead and do that. Whenever you're done accessorizing your penguin, your next step then, remember this little box that our penguin's standing on? Well, we want to cut that in half up to the penguin's bottom. So like that. Do you see how I didn't cut it all the way through, but just kind of up to where the bottom of that oval is? It's almost like now my penguin's got some box feet, right? Well, I'm going to put one folded going forward and one folded going back, almost as if my penguin is doing the splits. Well, that's kind of fun, right? All right. This is going to give us an area to glue our penguin down onto our doily. So that's going to be my next step. Now to get my doily on out. So the doilies are these fancy little paper things that look like that. Okay, so I've got to glue my penguin to my doily, so I've got to get glue on the underside of each of those feet. Just like that. And we glue it on down. I'm going to hold it for just a moment. Make sure that that glue sticks. Okay, and as that's drying, if I want to, I could go ahead and cut out some cute little penguin feet here's how I usually do penguin feet. I start off by cutting like a little triangle almost with the tip cut off. Do you see how that looks kind of like a triangle, but it's just missing the point? And then I go in and I cut out teeny tiny triangles like this to make the toes. So it ends up looking kind of like a little crown. Okay, so you don't have to do this step, but you can if you want to add some little feet to your penguin. And then go ahead, of course, and glue that on down as well. So let me just, oops, there we go. There's one little foot. And let's get another one on here. Cut out all these tiny, tiny little things today, huh? Tiny triangles, tiny ovals, all kinds of tiny stuff. Alright, there's my second crown for my penguin. And we'll glue that one down as a foot too. There you go. And if your penguin doesn't have feet, that's okay. It's still going to look cute with or without those. Let those have a moment to dry. And then our final step is going to be to assemble this all together. So do you remember those white pom-poms? We want to grab a handful of those. So I've got, I think, like 12 maybe here, but anywhere between, I'd say 8 and 15, somewhere between there. It's going to work well. And I'm going to put those on in here. Then I want to take my glue and I'm going to run it all around the edge of my cup, and I want to make sure it gets all the way around. There's no big gaps or anything like that. Okay, so you can see there's glue all the way around those edges. And now we're going to take our penguin, make sure everything's assembled and dried enough before doing this step, and I'm going to flip it upside down on top and make sure that all of the doily is touching the glue around the edges there. And now this is probably the hardest part. We need to be patient. We gotta let that dry for a good, I don't know, it's gonna depend on the humidity in your house, but I would say I'd wait about a half hour for this to dry. You don't want to let it dry right side up because the glue is gonna seep out of those little holes in the doily, and then it's gonna glue your little snow globe to your tabletop or your paper or whatever you're setting it on. We don't want that to happen. So we're gonna let it dry upside down. I'm going to be real careful here because obviously this is not dry, but you can see once it's done, you've got cute little snowballs in with your penguin to make a fun little snow globe. So I cannot wait to see how these turn out. In fact, so I can see how they turn out, don't forget to come on into our slides down at the bottom here where it says Art Hall of Frame. Go ahead and click on that. This takes just 30 seconds max, like it's super fast, and it's a great way for us to be able to share our artwork with each other. Look at this. How cute is that? Oh my goodness, the googly eyes. I love it. So you're just going to come on in here until you find an open frame, and down here you're going to claim your frame by putting in your name. So I would type my name in there, and then I come up to the top where it says Insert. It's just 3 down from File, so Insert, Image, and Camera. And when I do that, it's gonna like open up a camera on my Chromebook, and I will hold up my art project to the camera and hit capture. It'll automatically put that into our slides then, and you can make it bigger, smaller, crop it if needed. But it only takes just a few seconds for us to be able to share our artwork with each other. So make sure to always take that little extra 30 seconds of time to share your artwork to the Hall of Fame and become famous for your beautiful artwork. We'll see you next time.